Today's Thursday, July the 31st. Yes, it is the end of the month of beautiful July, and we're going to continue our continuation with the program using the interactive methods of learning Figma. We're going to continue from the last week's lesson. So I asked the students to download the lesson from last week to continue with this week's lesson. So please do that. I'm going to point you to the right exact location right now when I share my screen. So let's go ahead and get started. And let's have a nice strong finish for the rest of the semester. Today's going to be a very important class as we're going to cover some more advanced layouts and interactive prototyping techniques in Figma. Things that XD doesn't have. So, I like the collaboration, as I mentioned earlier, with Adobe, with XD, because it's an Adobe product. But as far as prototyping, Figma's got a few more tools up its sleeve for sure. So let's go ahead and dive into it. This is sharing my screen here. So we're looking at our Blackboard here. We're into the final phases of the course. We're into the interaction design principles here, okay? And we're going to get into class 11 and 12. I amalgamated both classes together. So here, last week, if you watched the video before this one, we went over all this, okay? I talked about, how to set up your design, prototyping, what to do, what not to do, give you some ideas. There's no real exact blueprint staple on you have to do it this way, but there's a lot of recommended techniques that you can learn that professionals use to kind of follow the trend and to, also carry the same professional consistency throughout your presentations. So this is why I'm showing you these things, to give you that type of aptitude and examples. So the mobile app prototyping kit, coffee shop, this was a done app already, was a coffee shop app. I really like this setup and example. So I'd like to, if I can point out a model for you, for your project, this is a good example for you to follow. And of course, it's going to be way more interactive than that, because this one is just a design. It's not even interactive yet. So today, we're going to make it interactive. And from last week, we chose a sneaker theme. So I like to do things right from scratch, which I did. So after I showed you this, I opened up the sneaker. Well, I didn't open it up. I made it from scratch. But I'm going to give you the opportunity to copy it right now. It's called Sneaker Mobile Demo right here. So you can just open that. You can continue following me from today's lesson going onwards, okay? So how easy it is to make something out of nothing and put an idea going forward, okay? These are just some other things I got into. So just to kind of give you a visual of everything we did last week, here's some images we collected from the internet. Rules apply. PNGs, JPEGs, okay? Even WebP formats work. The Google compression WebP format, it's actually really good. It works nice. So we were able to pull these images inside the app, and you can see how that was done. This was a UI kit that I utilized also from Figma. I copied and pasted some stuff into my demo. So just to kind of continue where we left off here. So this was the prototype. For the UI kit. Okay. You can see how a lot of professional designers like to make UI kits like this one. Okay. So we took some stuff from here and we included it into our prototype. So again, last week's lesson covers all that. This was another lesson I wanted to cover with the basic interaction. So from this one, if you want to open this one up as well, this one's called UI Kit Starter. As soon as I reference anything, look, UI Kit Starter, okay? Sneaker Mobile Demo, Mobile Apps, Prototyping Kit Community. This is the actual kit that I showed you, the UI kit. And this is the coffee shop. So these 4 files are focus from carrying over from last week to this week. So let's go ahead and show you now this this thing here. So the way this was done is we took the most common interactive principles of today's modern type of integration, which is taps, clicks, drags, okay? You can pinch in and pinch out, but that's more like a mobile UI OS type of interaction. But as far as apps, most of the apps that you're interacting with on a daily basis have these type of interactions. And just to quickly show you, I'll press the play button here. You can see here how you can go clicks, right? So click on, click off, right? You can do drag, okay? You can do rollovers for websites. Rollovers work well. For apps, I don't recommend it because, apps are all tap screens, right? The smartphones. So these are basically what you want to incorporate in your apps, okay? Um, did I cover this? Did I show you how to make this or no? I did? I did, right? Okay, perfect. So I'm not gonna repeat myself again. As long as I showed you how to do this basic stuff, I will show you how to apply some of these stuff on a real scenario though, okay? So that's what I'm gonna get into. All right, so this is done. I'm gonna close that. Now the coffee shop app, that's another thing I went over last week. Look at the setup, okay? You have the thumbnails, okay? Okay, never mind the thumbnails. The assets, like the UI kit, okay? Which is the colors, the fonts, the buttons, okay? So all the UI kit and the assets are here, okay? Then you have the style guide. And the style guide, I mean, honestly, the assets and the style guide can be combined. I've seen a lot of people just put them together. That's fine. What I want to distinguish here is the wireframe from the rendered prototype. So make sure you do like a wireframe. So I would do 3 sets. I would do a style guide or a UI kit. Then I would do like a rough wireframe, and then I would do a final rendered version. Okay. And this is what we did last week with the sneaker app. Okay. So we started with the new file. Let me just get to it right now. There it is. We made a wireframe. Basically, we used the very basic grayscale concept. The only thing I didn't do is the style guide. If I was to do one, I'd make another page and just incorporate my buttons right there, which I can do if you want, just to show you, okay? So this is my wireframe. And once we built this, we duplicated it. It's easier to duplicate something and change it than to do it all over again. Why would you do that, right? So once you put all the hard work into doing this, you simply duplicate it, and then we added color, drag the graphics and the images and stuff, okay? So again, I'm just repeating last week's lesson. This is what we did. Now let's move forward, okay? So what are some of the things we can continue now moving forward is adding an auto layout system. What's an auto layout system is how you can organize a lot of information into a limited space. Okay. So maybe the sneakers here, I purposely put products that can utilize that as part of my design strategy. Okay. So I'm going to do that one here. Just going to quickly let me ungroup this for a second. If it's grouped, just ungroup it because I think I just kind of messing around with it. Also, we're going to do a drop down menu. Okay. A lot of times these apps have like a little hamburger menu. It drops down, you click on the link and it goes to the page. You don't want to start making buttons on every page and then repeating the same process again for the other pages that you're going to make. You want to make this as dynamic, as clever as possible. So we're going to integrate that system as well. Another thing is scrollable items, because a lot of times you see a product and you can scroll left and right within the limited space. So how would you do something like that in Figma is also I want to cover today. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with this one. So a very simple button to get started. This is exactly how it goes, but let's do an animation too. Okay, so I'm going to back this up a bit. Watch what I'll do. I'm going to click on this home page. I'm going to hold Option. By the way, let me open your file so it's the same. I'm going to close it before I start. I'm going to open the one I uploaded so we're all on the same page. Because although they might look similar, there might be 2 steps ahead and I don't want to add confusion to it. So I'm going to go to the UX class here, go to class 11, and open my sneaker mobile demo app from here. Simply, you can save a local file as you know. By double clicking on it, I'm going to open it up into my drafts. Move into a project as well, actually. So there's the drafts, and there's a sneaker mobile demo app. Now I'm gonna delete this one just to not complicate things. Move to trash. I'm gonna open up this one, exact one you have here. Okay. And this one again, I want to show you has the wireframe and the high fidelity copy. And the only thing I would recommend you add is another, look, a new page. Ready? New page. This page 3 could be my UI kit and style guide. Okay. And the UI kit and style guide will be right at the very top. So UI kit style guide, then the wireframe, then the high fidelity. So you can organize your entire project into different pages. Those are pages. And these are your layers. Okay. Not necessarily, but I like to utilize some of these features as much as possible. Okay. I think if you have a way of doing some people like to do their wireframe in Illustrator, right? And I'm not going to take that away from you. If you like Illustrator that much and you want to do this in a different program, you can still show it to me that way. That's fine. Okay. But if you want to keep everything in one nutshell, you can just build it this way. But no, because you guys are working in groups, right? So let's say one person is doing the wireframing in Illustrator, the other person is doing the stuff in Figma, so it might clash that way. So in that case, I won't make it a mandatory thing, but it's my job to show you how fluent this is. Yeah, it's when you do the presentation, it's good to throw it in there, right? Yeah. So like what colors did you use, right? What fonts? Some of the design basics that went into it, right? You can show a separate presentation of it, right? Just like remember I showed you some of the, and I will show you some other demos, but just to dig up a previous example of a student presentation, I'll show because it's important you ask me that question. I'm going to go back to class number 10 here. I think it's class number 9 actually. Remember the Prime Fitness app, right? So a group did this app here. So this is their presentation. It was a PDF. So they did about us. What does the app do? This is your strategy. Okay. Remember strategy, scope, structure, skeleton, and surface. Those are the 5 UX principles. So you want to apply everything you learn into this class, into this thing. So you do your user persona if you have to. Okay. Look, here's your logo branding design. This is more like stuff you did in Illustrator, right? Then there's your colors. Then there's the typeface. Then there's the branding part, right? And then there's the design process. But this is the stuff we did in the UX part, right? And then there's the flow, okay? The schematic diagram, the layout, right? This is how it's gonna flow, basically. If you do a website, if you do an app, you have to do this, right? Then you do you do like a basic architecture grayscale, like just a very basic layout design of how the app will look like. And then the look and feel of it, and that's it. So this is a good little presentation piece that you can put together because if you want to sell the app, you got to have something like this too, right? Professionally presented piece. And you don't have to do it exactly like this. A lot of students did it differently, but something to show me why you did it, how, put something together like a presentation. Okay. And that's your part of your research and presentation. Want to put a look, they didn't do a user persona. Notice that? They skipped that part. So that's okay, but they made up for it in other ways. They did other things to make up for it. But if you want to add a user persona, even better, right? Some of you did like a research questionnaire. That helps too, right? Okay, and then here's the wireframe. Look, the wireframe is here. Instead of gray, they use the orange and the actual black, right? And then after this, they created the prototype. And this is the Figma version of the prototype. and this is their project, right? So in the beginning, they have like an animation, which I'll cover everything that I'm showing you as an example. We'll cover it. And then we'll do like the navigation. And of course, some pages are, longer than others because you have more information. But it's all about just adding detail, right? Graphics, images, buttons. That's all you're doing is adding more detail, copy, paste, and just making the changes. Right? Once you get started, it's not that hard. Once you have the plan, the ideas, the images, the graphics, the buttons, the content, it's just plug and play, right? And the only part, the challenging part might be for you to figure out how to do the prototyping, which if you go to prototype, okay, this is how it's all connected. So this you drag here, this you drag here, this you drag here, but this is on, remember, um, there's like, zoom in here closely, right? So this is like Smart Animate. Remember, we did this in XD. Smart Animate means animate the page. And I'll cover this again in my example that I'm going to get into very soon. So just to show you a bigger example, because for me to do this caliber of explanation, it'll take me like probably 6 hours. This is a lot of work. This is their project, okay? This is something that you're doing. But I'm going to exemplify this in a simpler solution way. So if I show you one method, you can translate that into 3 other scenarios. You understand? Okay. So that's what I'm going to do. So this is called auto animate. That means the logo, look, it spins, it gets bigger, it lands, right? And then what happens? Well, then it goes to this page, and then to this page. And what happens after that? Well, then this button, right? Look, let's move. If you click on that, it goes to this page, right? So it's just connecting all the pages together. Absolutely. Let's press play. Here we go. Right? As a little quick animation, logs in. That's right. Yeah, you can delay it if you want, right? Then you click here and you enter. You click here to enter again, right? Then you click here to skip and you fill this out. You click here. It's a lot of clicking, and if you miss, it gives you a hint. Look, the hint tells me, hey, you're not clicking in the right area. That means, oh, okay, so I click over here then, and then it goes to that part, right? And then again, you can click on these thumbnails and go to this, then close the X for the exercise. Click on this one, and I'll do some overlays. Next week, I'll get into some more advanced overlay examples of having like when you click on an image, it blows up bigger on the page. You can press X and close it. Things like that you can do. Very good for portfolios and product type of presentations. Okay. So I want to get into that maybe next week. But today I want to really show you how to do auto layouts, animation, buttons, even like a hamburger menu. Okay. As much interaction as possible. And of course, these buttons down here should be working as well because that's the main stuff, right? And you can scroll, see how it's scrollable up and down, and that's a fixed menu. This is how you're going to make this app work and function and feel like a real app, okay? And honestly, between you guys working in twos and threes to make these pages and stuff, it's not that much hard work. A lot of it is, look, duplicated and modified, okay? Once you make a template, it's easy to copy and paste, right? All right. So let's go ahead and do it. Okay. Let's go make something like similar to this, exemplified by using this demo that I did last week, and I'm continuing this week. Open the file. Okay. There's the UI kit and style guide. Let me make a quick UI kit style guide right now. Okay. So I'm just going to quickly use a frame tool here. What are we using? What's the size of this frame here? It's an iPhone 16 Plus. So that means I'm just going to use the same style guide here. Actually, you know what I'm going to do, guys? I'm going to use a section. I've never shown you how the section tool works. It just creates like a section, like an actual page. But this page, the difference between a section and a frame, sections are not really existent in a prototyping environment. So sections are a way for us to designate areas of design elements. So it's like your creative cutting board, okay? So section would be a perfect way to use for the UI kits, right? I would not use a section into my wireframe and my high fidelity because these are real frames and artboards. You understand? Section is only for like my design board. So that's a good way to distinguish sections from frames. And if you look at my last week's video, I used the frame tool and I chose, let's go back to this one, click on my frame here. We did use an iPhone 16 Plus frame sized frame tool, okay? And then, of course, this high fidelity, it was just copied and pasted to this one. So this one, I'm just going to use a section. And let's go ahead and, like, honestly, we should have done this beforehand, but I'm going to do it now. Pretend I'm reverse engineering this whole thing. So copy and then paste here. It's my button. And of course, we have this stuff here. Right. So I'm just kind of reverse engineering my my layout here. What else can I use? Maybe I'll use my high fidelity stuff as well. Maybe some of this stuff. Then we made the low fidelity from the high fidelity. So this is like your UI kit, okay? This UI kit you should do this first, okay? I shouldn't do it after. You should do it before, and then this should help you build, your wireframes and your high fidelity stuff. So basically everything you can do, copy and paste from your UI kit. Do you understand, right? So do this first, okay? Do this first, because I just wanted to get right into the meat and the potatoes, right? And if you're a vegetarian, I apologize. But I wanted to show you how to basically get started, because we did a UI kit already, and I was hoping you understand this part. So do this first, maybe do the other part second. So what else can we grab from here? You can also do some product stuff as well. Be careful, they don't bring in anything, but this could be a good example of how things can work. All right. So enough with that, right? Let's go ahead now and build our prototype from the sneaker app, okay? But this is something, again, I'll repeat it one more time. You do this first, and don't worry, this is something you can always go back and forth if you have to, but this will basically help you build your wireframe. It'll help you also build your high fidelity, okay? So let's do this now. And you give me any suggestions you want, okay? I'm just gonna say yes or no. I'll say, you know what, let's not do that now. It won't fit our narrative. Or you say, yeah, it's a good idea. Do you think we should do like an animation of the introduction of the page? Let's do an auto animate sequence, okay? So how do we introduce this app and how do we get started and stuff? Let's do an animation. And then after the animation, let's incorporate like an organized way to show our products. Let's say we have another 4 sneakers or something. How do we do like an auto layout and how do we do a smart scroll and things like that? Okay. And then we'll do basic navigation and then I'll get into more advanced prototyping navigation. Okay. So this is kind of the goal I have. And then we'll kind of finish it off like that. So how do you do an animation? Simple. You copy the first page and you copy it to the left, right? So you have this one to that one. And whatever you do from here to there, it's going to animate, considering all your layers, all these names are the same. The big mistake people make, or designers, is to start changing names and layouts on one page and they forget if they animate it from here to there, there's no communication between the two. So you have to leave it intact. You can't change names and layouts. So it's better to kind of do copy and then animate right away. Don't start organizing your layers and naming stuff. Don't do it. Do it before, and then after do the animation. So what happens now is this. So this I should, by the way, speaking of organizing and stuff, I'm just gonna delete this for now. I do want to organize this better. For example, this should be grouped with this. So considering grouping as your main organizational tool or method of keeping things together. So I'm going to select these two, okay, and just go to the group selection, Command G, okay? So Command G means group, just like Illustrator, you're grouping everything together, okay? Be careful, I think I selected the whole thing there. Okay, there we go. So this is our, and it's a good idea to keep an eye on what you're selecting because I can easily select something by accident. So make sure this is, look, you have the products page, the intro page, and you have the product selected page. So I have three separate artboards, but if you open each up, the layers reside inside each and every one of them. So in this case, if I select this one, right, and if I click inside of it, it's going to open all my ingredients and content in that page, or let's call it a frame. A frame is the page. And now I'm going to select my Get Started button with this orange rectangle tool. And I'm just going to press Command G. Okay. That means I was able to just group these together so it's easier to move it around. You understand? Okay. You should try to group things as much as possible just to minimize your layers and objects because it gets overwhelming sometimes, right? Even this, and this. This should be grouped too, right? So press Command G. This is okay. It's an image. I'll leave it alone. This here, these two should be also grouped. Command G, right? But I will do this before you do any type of animation and stuff. And I should have done this before I even copied it over here. But I'm gonna be a little more forgiving and leave it alone. Don't overdo it. But just to kind of teach you proper etiquette and stuff you follow, group your layers. Even these two. Look at this. A sneaker one and the sneaker. You might do an e-commerce with a shopping cart, price, sale, as detailed as you want, right? Group it. Command G, right? This one too. Shift select, Command G. Because later you'll see how beneficial this is when I do, layouts and stuff. So take the time to group everything. So if you're following me do this, do it with me right now and just get comfortable applying these grouped um, segments and stuff. Perfect. These I'm not going to group because they're separate buttons. Okay, so I'm going to leave those alone. What else? This button over here, Command G. This I'll leave separate. And again, just to keep it consistent, I'm going to group this as well. I'm going to group that as well. All right. But once we're done grouping the right elements together or design elements and images and stuff, I'm ready now to not only do an easier execution, but it's a lot easier to even, kind of find things along the way. So this button, for example, see, it's called a group. You can name it instead of group one, call it button or get started button. Okay. And this will be, instead of group 9, I'm going to call it buy now button. I like to utilize my previous habit of putting buttons as a BTN for short, because we would underscore BTN for buttons. Okay, movie clips of the MOVs. These are ways to kind of find elements a little quicker and easier. And these I'll leave it as maybe I'll call this sneaker one. So I'll call this S1. Sneaker two will be called S2. Sneaker three is S3. The sneaker four is S4. So I'm taking the time to show you the importance of organizing your layers here, as you see, right? And I'm going to stop now because that's enough organizing. Okay. This is the title, main, PG image. Timer. Got to keep the names the same here. So all in all, I'm happy with this. Okay. I like how my layers make sense, just like Photoshop back in the day, right? When we did the Photoshop layers, we named them so we can identify them and stuff, right? Sorry? So these little icons are basically these bottom things that I copied and pasted here. I'll be honest with you, I'm not even happy with these. I'm gonna delete them and maybe. Oh, this here? I copied that from the UI, so it looks like a real phone. Yeah, you can't click on that. You're not supposed to. I mean, you can. Oh, I call that top timer. Call it top bar. Call it battery percentage. Whatever. Sometimes you can distinguish it differently, right? So for me, I just call it top timer. Okay. I'll be honest with you, I don't even know why I chose a top timer. Just wow. Here, that's how about top status bar? Like you really want to be specific, right? So that's a good name. So top status bar. There. That's the proper name for it. Then I'm gonna look what I'll do now. I'm gonna copy and paste it along here. Paste. When I'm done this, I'm gonna upload it on Blackboard and replace the old with this one. So you have a copy of the finished version. Okay. So as we do this in class, and you do it with me, not only you're learning how to do it, you're gonna have a finished version of what we're gonna do today. Okay. So all these names that I'm doing right now, in case you miss something, don't worry. You're gonna just replace it with this other file. So same thing here. Top status bar. All right. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not too happy with these icons because the way they're copied and pasted, they didn't really work out too well. So I'm just gonna delete them. Okay. I'm not happy with them at all. I'm gonna delete them here. I'm gonna make some other ones because when you copy and paste UI kits from other sources, sometimes they create problems. Be careful. You might have to ungroup them. Who knows how they were made? Somebody copied them from Illustrator, pasted them. It's like getting stuff off the internet. You don't know how it's gonna come out. Okay. So I'm going to make some of these buttons right now, okay? So very quickly, I will open up maybe a more, you know what? Let's use good old Illustrator just to give you a good refresher how to copy and paste vector graphics. Because look, Illustrator is still our #1 design tool. And you can still copy and paste Illustrator to Figma, okay? So don't forget, you can use Illustrator to help you in many ways, okay? Um, Yeah, copy and paste, exactly. But don't copy and paste like a gradient mesh stuff. It'll rasterize into an image because gradient mesh is too advanced for Figma to understand. A gradients, maybe. Colors, yes. So be careful what you copy and paste, right? Keep it simple, simple shapes. Yeah, like right now, I'm gonna make the bottom menu bar. I'm gonna copy and paste it over. one by one. The colors, yeah. Oh, the logo, yes. The logo is perfect example. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and make a new file in Illustrator. Remember this, guys? Swatch libraries. Sorry, symbol libraries. Web, buttons, and bars. I'm going to go to this one. Actually, let's go to web icons. Now look, when you do this in Illustrator, break link. Break link makes it into a vector shape. So then it's a real raw vector object. Then you can copy it, go to Figma, right? Make sure I'm in the products page. I'm going to hit Command V. And then I'm going to resize it. By the way, it pasted as an image. It pasted as an image because I think it was too complex. I don't know why it's complex. Oh, guys, I forgot one thing. I apologize. Be careful when you copy symbols. If you make it, it's easier. If you copy it from here, you have to do one more thing. You have to do expand or something like that. Sorry, let me just press undo here. So let's go to break link. See, look, this is why, because it's got this clipping thing on it. So when you add a clipping mask in Illustrator is different than a clipping mask in Figma. So basically, be careful when you copy and paste. It'll work on simpler shapes, which I'm going to make right now. So let's make a simpler one, okay? Let's go ahead and make like a simple icon of a home page. So I can use this icon here. Can I get one off the internet? Let me teach you a little cheat trick right now. Who doesn't want to learn a cheat trick, especially this time of semester, right? Let's call it home button. I love sometimes doing this. So let's say I really want to make my button look like this one. That's my home button. Ready? Watch this. Right click, copy image, Illustrator first, because I don't like my button. I have to spend maybe 10 more minutes making it perfect. Paste. Okay. But here's the problem. It's image, it's not vector. Okay. So what do? Exactly. You go to object. Sorry, you click on it, image trace, but don't just hit image trace. It might do accidentally 3 colors. It's a logo. It's supposed to be one color. So what you do is you do silhouettes. Silhouette's my favorite technique to grab something from the internet. Illustrator, look at this. Silhouettes, okay? And then you expand, then it becomes a simple shape. So silhouettes, expand. And then if you copy and paste into Figma, it's still an image for some reason. Let me see here. Do I have to do one more? Ungroup all. Yeah, sorry guys, there's one more step. You have to ungroup all. For some reason, it groups it for whatever reason. So ungroup all. Um, let's try it now. Copy. Like Figma really doesn't want to paste vector files anymore. How about if I grab a circle? I'm just wondering why it's doing this. a rectangle. Copy and paste. Yeah, it's weird. I guess you got to keep it simpler than that. I don't know how more simple I can do it. So let's see. Expand. I wonder if there's a special paste option here. Paste over selection. Paste. Well, it was working last week. I don't know what the heck is going on. But if you want to just copy and paste it as an image, you can. Okay, it'll still look okay. But the trick is to keep, you want to be able to change it and stuff. So that's why I'd rather keep a vector file. Um, let's see if I can outline stroke. It's a little frustrating how it's not working for me now. I had it working last week. I don't know. Do you want to, you know what? Maybe instead of Illustrator, just use Figma, okay? Just design your icons in Figma. Unfortunately, it's they don't like each other. Like it's a different. I think you can, but it just might be a little bit of a mess for most people. So just use Figma as your design tool. But images you can do in photo, like you can still use copy and paste, but it'll be an image. It won't be an editable icon. Okay. I think there is a way, but you have to get right, like double click, triple click, something like that. Like a ridiculous amount of uh yeah, see it's still an image. Well, you know what? Let's just go ahead and make my that's why you have a style guide here. Just make your UI kit here, and then you can reuse it as much as you want. And honestly, it's not a bad thing if you do design your UI kit here. Let's go ahead and just simply do a, I'm gonna make, I don't want to spend an hour making icons right now, but you could basically use the same drawing tools like you can in here. So I'm gonna just use objects for now, okay, just to kind of speed up the process here, guys. And I'll figure out I'll figure out how to do some. I know there's a few tricks. I'll figure out how to bring in vector files to Figma because I've done it before. Let me see here. Copy and pasting vector files from Illustrator to Figma. Oh, SVG. Okay, guys, look, as an SVG. So if you save the graphic as SVG from Illustrator, you can open in Figma. Okay, clear? So sorry, not to be lazy here, but we have to save it as SVG. And then you should be able to edit the vector file. I know it's a little bit of work. Copy and paste is fast, but it doesn't work. So we have to do SVG. So no problem. What does SVG stand for? Why does SVG work? Why? Scalable vector graphic. That's why, right? So if that's the case, then here, let's grab this little house icon. And again, this is why you're working in a team. One of your designated team members will do this. Okay, that's their job. Convert all these guys into graphics and getting all this stuff done. So I'm going to do there's the little house icon. What's the other icon I'm going to get here? I'll use a reload button. Sure. There's another one. Break link. I'm just using different graphics here. Maybe the shopping cart might be another one. I will do one more. Your icons should reflect your, your obviously menu and what it's supposed to do. I'm just going to use these 4 for now. Okay. Here's the thing. I don't even think you can save them all as one. You got to save them individually, which is another pain in the butt, right? But let me just wing it. Let me just wing it to see if it works. Okay. So I'm going to go save as in Illustrator. Let's first check Command Y. Look, they're vector. Okay. So they're vector files. Let's do save as SVG. Okay. Scalable vector graphic, because that's what Figma likes to use. So we'll call this icons for bottom menu. Now I'm going to go to just simply place them. Well, to place anything in here, you can basically drag and drop it. You can do the actual there we go, right there. So look, guys, it worked. I save it as SVG, right? And just bring it right into Figma. And it brought them into a frame. So literally, you might have to go and drag, look, one by one, right? I'm going to drag this one here, this one here, this one over here. It's actually pretty nice, actually. I don't mind doing this. It's actually better than copy and paste because I can really then focus and not limit myself to some of the advanced designs that I can do in Illustrator. So now I'm just going to resize this like that. Okay. So, you know, that was the tip of the day today. Use SVG files in your Illustrator. Whoops, here. And yes, look, you can change the color. Once you can change the color, you know it's a vector file, right? All right, and this one as well. Just gonna quickly because it did put them into separate rectangles. So I just want to make sure it's not gonna give us any problems here. There we go. So it's a TIFF, right? Right. Vector file there. All right, so just do that. I think for scaling, you're better off using the scale tool. So just be careful when you're using scale. I would just use the scale tool and just it's a lot easier. And look, it keeps it uniform with everything. Okay. So you bring this in, scale tool. Okay, so now I'm ready to bring this into my real prototype file. So I can just copy and paste them. I can copy and paste them from here back to the other one. So why this one is tick there. Yeah, but even then, I mean, I'll be honest with you, you have to kind of double click and then edit it that way. It's still problematic, to be honest with you. I'm still not too overly impressed. It looked good, but then me dragging this around back and forth, I don't know if it's on purpose, but they just they want you to use Figma. They, you can copy and paste. It's a vector file. I don't know why it's so complicated, right? But anyways, there's a workaround, SVG, open it, okay? So let's copy these buttons now and paste them into our prototype, okay? I just don't like how this one is set up here. You might have to do one more thing, guys. You might have to just ungroup, okay? I apologize for all these little, it's not me, I mean, it's how these guys made these programs, right? So just ungroup your files, okay? Because I accidentally dragged this in there. It's a friggin' mess sometimes. Wow. Can't believe it. Ungroup. All right. So just ungroup them. When you bring in your SVG file and you click on the icon, just right click, ungroup it. So this way it's not linked to a separate frame within itself. It's kind of hard to explain that, but just as how these vector files are interpreted. Okay. So this will be home BTN. This is going to be, I don't know, reload BTN. This will be shopping cart. Buy BTN. This will be another button. And don't forget, these buttons are a little more complex because they have, look, they have a hole in there. They got different items and elements. So that's why they're not the simple button, okay? They're more like icons. So be careful with icons. They could be problematic. Just copy, paste, doesn't work. SVG, ungroup, it should be okay. All right, let's go and grab these now, copy them, okay? I'm gonna just quickly do another save here. Go back to my, well, the wireframe, I'll leave this alone. I'll go to my high fidelity, okay? Now I'm gonna hit paste. Now I'm gonna put these buttons right here. So now I have my icons all ready to go. If you select all four of them, you want to do your, remember there's a button here you can use. It's called tidy up. It'll distribute the spacing for you a little better with each button. It depends on the size. I would say within 100 to 150% of the distance, or 200%, depending on how wide it is, right? If you have more icons, then you have less. It's 20 or maybe 50 pixel padding, okay? Depending on how much space you have in between. There's no real requirement. The font size, I would like honestly stick with the web font requirements. So in this case, this one here, 20, 22, 24, because it's like a heading font size. For the body, because people have to read the fonts on the screen, don't go less than 18. It's too small, okay? 16 even. Like the default font size on a browser is 16 points when you look at a website. 16, 18. It's different than print. Print, you got to go with 9, 10, okay? Maybe 10 minimum, because 9 is too small and 12 is too big. For online is different, right? So you have to kind of, the rule is, you know what? Add like 10. Whatever you do, whatever you like in print, add 10 for the websites. Seriously, it's just easier to read. Just add another 10 points. All right, so I think we have these buttons set up, guys. Sorry it took so long to make these icons, but at least we know now how to bring in Illustrator. SVG is the way to go. Save, open, copy, paste. Don't do that. So once we get started here, this is going to become like the home page. So I'm going to change this to, look at this. The color is already saved to orange. Okay. So if I copy and paste this menu to this artboard, then I would go ahead and make this a different color as well. And if you do purchase this shoe, then it goes to the purchase page. Let's do another simple page here, then I'll do the animation afterwards. So this is how you purchase it. So that means this will be black and this will be orange. So the colors do change nicely. And yes, we'll keep the colors consistent as well. This will be more like the payment plan. So I'm just gonna copy this maybe over here, just to dress it up a little easier. This should be over here, by the way. So you can change the quantity and stuff. And this is more like your shipping address. Payment details. You put your credit card information and things like that. You could get a like a MasterCard form. You can design this separately. So when you do enter, let's say you make a purchase of the product, you do your credit card information, all that stuff here. So I'm just gonna grab something quickly online right now. I don't want to spend an hour designing a little form, right? So I'm just gonna get one here. So payment form under images. Okay, so I'm just gonna copy this here, guys, quickly. Paste it. And yeah, you should design something like this too, so it works with your app. Okay, so this is your payment details, things like that, and then you proceed to the payment section. All right, so let's go ahead and do the animation now. Okay, because we did these icons took up some time, but we'll catch up right now. So what I'm going to do is copy this intro page at the very beginning, and I'm going to option drag it to the left. So make sure it's all selected like this. Option drag, so it's a copy. So I basically duplicated before and after. What's going to happen? What's going to happen is we're going to have this button maybe come in from the top down, perhaps. Maybe we'll drop it down. This image can fade in as well. We'll do an opacity. We can do lots of different things here. So maybe this will drop down. Okay. So for this to drop down, I'm going to move it to the very top of the page first, like up here. See? So for this, from there, it's going to go here. The image will do opacity. So the image, I'm going to go to select it here. Do 50% opacity. I think the opacity should work. If not, we'll just have to do something else with it, the animation wise. And the get started button is also gonna go to maybe from down here, right? It's gonna go down to the inside one as well. Now be careful because I moved these outside. You got to keep things in the frame, okay? So what I would suggest you do is this: use the arrow keys. Use the arrow keys like that, okay? Same as this one. There we go. So I'm gonna use the arrow keys. Down, down, down. Holy smokes, really? All those fast. With shift, it goes a little quicker. If you don't use the arrow keys, it's gonna bring it outside of the artboard. It won't work, okay? So be careful when you bring that in. You have to use the arrow keys back and forth. Okay, so I did a very simple offset. The offset was bringing the button down here, bringing the call to action up here, and fading out the image. I can even do something with this here. The top status bar can also have maybe 20% opacity. Oh, that didn't work. I think it's the wrong one. Here it is. Leave it alone for now. That's fine. All right. Now, how do you do an auto animate? So you select this artboard, okay, and you go to prototype. So this is the thing. So far, we did everything in design mode. So design is here, prototype is over here. XD had it differently. XD had it up here. So design, prototype, and then you have, I think, share. So here you have design prototype, and the share is a button by itself. So look at the difference here. And what we're going to do in this case, we're going to click on prototype because we're ready to prototype now, okay? And then we'll go back between prototype and design. So prototype, and make sure you click on the artboard, which is the intro, and we're going to connect the artboard to the next artboard, like that. And we're going to tell it to, the interaction would be after delay. After delay means time, okay? So remember, it's like, what do we do in XD? It was called, forgot the term, time. You guys remember the word? Was it time? Anyways, it's after delay, 800 milliseconds, navigate to. Let me see this one here again. So after delay, we're going to do, so instead of time, it's after delay, same kind of terminology as XD. 800 milliseconds is less than a second. So it's 0.8 of a second. So we're going to leave that alone. Navigate to intro. Well, let's not confuse the two because this will be called the intro, and then this will be maybe main. So let's rename this, call it main. So intro's here, main is here. So it makes sense. So this will go to main. And the animation, here's the ticker, ready? Smart animate. Smart animate's gonna animate all these elements coming in, opacity, size, scale, whatever you do from here to here, it'll animate. So please remember this. This is the big takeaway here. So we're connected this artboard to that artboard after delay, 800 milliseconds, navigate to main. Let's quickly do a test. Press play. Did you catch that? Let me do it again. Again. So that's kind of how the app introduces itself in the beginning. So all I did was copy the artboard, move the things around. I went to prototype, I connected it, delay, auto animate. Okay, I know it sounds like a lot of steps, but once you do it, it's all there. You can kind of visualize it. And then we enter the app, and then we click on get started, and then we go to the button and do all the other fancy stuff. So let's go ahead and do the next part. Is this clear? Okay. Trust me, it throws me off too. Like being up here trying to explain this stuff too. Sometimes it's just so many little tedious things. If I miss one step, and you can do this 100 times, you're gonna miss that one step. Okay, so be patient. Okay, sometimes it's frustrating, but you'll get to it as long as you kind of be very, very detailed oriented, and you'll catch it. Okay, so now what happens next is this button, get started, will go to the next artboard. This will be a tap trigger. This is easier because what we'll do is we'll click on this one. We're still in prototype. We're going to drag this to go to this page. You see, drag it to that page. And that'll be on tap, navigate to products. A smart animate? No, we're not animating. Just go there. Just do a nice, instantly go there. Instant transition. Okay. Perfect. Okay. And then what happens is when you click on these sneakers, they're going to go to different artboards with that color of sneaker selection. For now, I'm going to do one. I'm going to do this brown one. So this brown sneaker number 3, that's going to be the trigger. When people click on that product, it's going to go to that page. Does that make sense? Okay. But before I do that, I want to show you a better way to organize this section for other products. Okay. So let me just stop here and do that part after, because it's easy to go connect, click, connect, click. Okay. So that's not rocket science going forward after this. And by the way, this home button, okay, this will go back to this page. Okay. On tap, navigate to main, instant. Okay. And maybe this reload page will go to whatever. I mean, I'm just making up buttons at this point, but you can make it go anywhere. Maybe I'll have that go to the next page as well by default. Okay. And the shopping cart will go to maybe like the shopping cart page. Okay. So that's because you're already there. It won't go. You're already there. If you click, it's already there. Oh, to refresh the page, that only works on a JavaScript command on a browser. You can pretend and simulate it, copy the same page and go there and have it refresh. That'll be a cool thing. You can do that, okay? But does this make sense? See, the connecting part is pretty simple, right? Once you have all the design done, it's just click and drag like Spider-Man, right? The little webs, just connect them all, right? But it gets a little more interesting as I will show you now. Let me click again. Here we go. Animation comes in, get started. Okay. Buy one, get one free, blah, blah, blah. Click on this sneaker here. Oh, yeah. Remember, I didn't make it work, but this one works. Okay. Buy now should go to the shopping cart, and home goes back to the home page. Oh, I gotta fix. Let me quickly fix those buttons. So this home button, okay, should go back to this page. Okay. And if you click on it again, it goes back to that page. So I'll just do next and previous. And this one here, the reload button will go back over here, and the home button is going to go back over here. So I'm just connecting all the buttons to work. So it's an ongoing thing. And by now should go over here. Okay. Because you're buying the product. So now it should work like an actual functioning prototype, you know, in a simple scale degree. So let's go ahead and press play. Here we go. Introduction. Logo comes in. Get started. Okay. The sneakers don't work yet. I'll have that work in a bit. Buy now. Oh, the picture's missing. Okay. Something happened there. Home button takes you home. This page, next page, and so on and so forth. I wonder why the picture is missing. So let me figure that part out right now. Like the actual, when I say picture, I mean, oh, look, why is the picture not showing up? Troubleshoot 101. Why? I copied this off the internet. I don't want to spend another hour designing American Express, credit card, Visa, MasterCard payments, because you guys can make this in a UI kit, drop it in. Why is it not showing up? It's there, but when I play the prototype, and you do know this because this happens all the time, and you be like, well, what's going on? Why is it not working? Why is it not? Because there's a reason, right? Look, why is it not there? And I caught it. Trust me, it took a lot of back and forth to get this done. Because this image, okay, it should be inside this artboard. That artboard, it's called product selected artboard. It's outside of it. It's not inside. You see that? I caught it right away. That image that I copied and pasted off the internet because I wanted to speed things up a bit, I pasted it here thinking that, okay, it's there. It looks like it's there, but it's not because it's outside of the artboard. So you got to be very vigilant catching these little details because they're the problem causers, okay? So now what I'm going to do, now that I know, I'm going to drag this image, watch here, right in there. So now it's inside that artboard, right? So if I press play now, watch it not show up still. I'm gonna break that projector. Okay, so get started. Here we go. Okay, these don't work yet because I have to show you how to do a nice little gallery. I'll show you a nice little, not like an image gallery, but a scrollable gallery you can control with products. So then when you purchase it, buy now, there's the buy now, and then you exit to your payment section. Thank you for purchasing. Go back to the home page, right? You can do whatever you want after that. Make another page. Thank you for your purchase, right? It's always nice to thank people and to confirm that their purchase has been made. So I would make one more section. Once you click pay, go to one more page. Do you understand? Make it like complete. I just don't want to waste too much time. I'm giving you guys ideas. I'm sure you know how to figure the rest part out. So going back, okay? So this is the main um, situation here. Okay, but now let's show you how to do a more advanced layout design. So I'm done with the prototype for now. I'm going to go back and forth. I'm going to go back to design. Okay, I'm going to also hit file save a local copy. What I'm going to show you is this. Okay, because not all artboards are going to be the same heights. When you have a lot of products, you're going to have a longer, like a web page, a longer page. So this products page is going to be purposely like longer like this. Just wonder why this thing moved on me. It's just the weirdest thing. Okay, anyways, I'm gonna move it down. I think again these icons are giving me problems. So I'm just gonna move it down like this. And oh, what the heck's going on with these guys? Okay, whatever. So there's my longer page now. Okay. That's where you put more products. Now, keep in mind also, I grouped these together. So this is, remember, grouped. If I double click, you have the sneaker and you have the shoe, the description. You might have a price. You might have other attributes that you want to associate your products with. Okay. So there's a couple of things here. To keep these four, let's call them items, better organized, Figma has this that XZ doesn't, okay? So you group them like this. You group the description, the picture. So these are like basically, separate, but grouped within themselves. You understand? If I select all four, right? And I right click, what I'm going to do now is select add to auto layouts. Shift A, there's a shortcut. This is a popular design feature in Figma that a lot of designers like. It's called auto layouts. It's pretty cool. You don't have to use it. You don't have to. But if it helps you be more advanced in design, I think it's worth knowing. That's why I want to show it to you. So it's called auto layout. You're adding auto layout. It works with multiple objects and shapes. You want to create a harmony way of laying things out. So let me show you how that works. Auto layout. So now you have this configuration here waiting for you to work with this. What does that auto layout mean? What it means is by default, everything goes from left to right. So if I make this box smaller, look, it does auto layout. Do you see that? You see how it aligns things up? So if you have a lot of products, you don't have to move one by one and rearrange it and realign it. Auto layout will do it for you. Here's what else you can do. Watch this. You can go this way. Let me move this down here so I show you. Look, see? Let me move it outside. So there's auto layout, okay? Watch this. So you can go like this, you can go like this, you can go like this, right? You can go like this, right? Then you can go inside and do this, control the spacing so it's even, right? You can go like this and control the spacing vertically. You know how much time this will save you if you're doing like, let's say you're doing like a, I don't know, Instagram feed and you have people and contacts in your phone. You got to do a long array of images. So this is very good to know. Auto layouts. So you can select. I have a good little practice with this if you want to try it out. I'll do it one more time quickly just to show you because it's an important thing, right? Watch. I'll do a box like a square. I'll do a circle. I'll do a circle. I'll paint the circle a different color. And I'll do another shape here. I'll do a polygon. And I'll do this one a different color as well. Right? You get the idea, right? So same as those. But I would group these if they have more things in them, attributes. If I have like something in there, like text and stuff, make sure you group it together, group it together, group it together. And then you select all 3 or 10 or 5 or as many as you like. Right click and you do auto layout. Shift A is the shortcut. Once you do auto layout, by default, it's set to this here. Now, if you click on this one, it'll do vertical. The popular one is this one here, because this one just does it just does vertical. It forces it to go vertical. But if you go to the one on the left, it forces everything to go to the left. Get it? Unless you cut it off, it can then force it down if you like. And this is free. Okay. So you can do a free for all. Look, see, free for all. You can do. This is the popular one here. Okay. Oh, yeah, sorry. I forgot to add this. Look, it's called wrap. Wrap means if you make it smaller, they're all going to follow down like this. You see? That's what wrap means. So you want to make sure you turn on the wrap. I know it's so tedious. I miss it sometimes. It's this little button here. If you don't click it on, like if I check it off, look, it's not working. See? But if I click on wrap, then this wraps. It's like auto wrap feature, right? So auto layouts, use it on your thumbnails, images, products, whatever. It really helps you with your layout. Because look, then you can control everything simultaneously. Like spacing and stuff. Okay, so that's what I wanted to show you with more an advanced feature of design that XD doesn't have, Figma has. Okay, so I'll give it thumbs up for that. Now I'm gonna bring this back here to my artboard, right? And maybe I'm gonna increase this feature here. Maybe I'll scale it upwards a bit. Okay, and because it's auto layout, right? Look, you can control. Go back to the selection tool. You can control the spacing and stuff evenly. See what I mean, right? So that's what auto layout lets you do nicely. Okay, so that's your lesson on auto layout. Now, there's more advanced functions with auto layout that I'm not going to get into, but I do advise you to watch a tutorial. If you type in auto layout in Figma, there's so many other more advanced things you can do with this. You can control like padding, locking, this one here, don't affect that one. You can do some real customization. Not necessary, but if you really want to be an expert at this stuff, you can take it one more level higher. Okay, so I'm going to leave it for now. I don't want to overwhelm you, but this is enough, I think, to show you how powerful this feature is. It's auto layout. Okay, because like a website, right? It makes it responsive when you resize the screen, basically. All right, so auto layout's done. One more thing now. Let's connect this shoe here. We're going to go back to prototype. How do I connect this shoe over here now? Because it's part of the auto layout. Well, you have to think in terms of the isolation mode, like Illustrator. You have to double click and then select this object, and then you can go ahead and move this to that page. You have to delete that one, right? And it'll be on tap. Okay, navigate to product selection. So I'm just gonna link this shoe over there. Okay, and let me do another quick little test. Get started. But look what's happening. Everything is scrolling. It works, but I don't want everything to be scrolling like that. Okay, so I want to be able to have a fixed. I want the menu to be fixed, and I want also the top of the bar to be fixed as well. Okay, so we're gonna apply a fixed attribute. So when you scroll, only this scrolls and not the other elements. Okay, so how do we do that? So therefore, we have to select this. We call it top status bar, right? For that one, first time I did this, I was like, where the hell can I find this? Pardon me. Where the heck can I find this? So where it was under prototype. You got to go to prototype mode sometimes to find certain things, especially when you do like clipping masks, when you do scrollable images and other things I'm going to show you. It's under prototype. Just remember that, okay? Don't always think prototype with connecting things. Sometimes prototype takes care of positioning, and referencing positions with the artboards and frames. So in this case, scroll with parents has to be changed to stay in place. You can also do sticky. Sticky means like, sticky footers on websites and sticky stuff. You can do sticky too. Okay, at the top of the page. I'm going to do fixed for now because it's going to be fixed. Only when the artboard is longer, you want to fix things. Okay, so this is fixed. To be honest with you, also, I should have like a white background here because the image will go behind it. You can't see it. So I should do another quick little white background just for aesthetic purposes. Nothing crazy here. Back to design. I'll move it here. There we go. Okay. Now I did it. Okay. Okay, so I fixed it there. So the whole thing now is going to be on the prototype fixed. Fixed. Which means if I was to press the play button, and I scroll, see how the bar is fixed at the top? That's what you want, right? You want it to have a fixed, you want this to be fixed so it doesn't move. And that it's done on the prototype, right? And then you go to the thing. Now that shouldn't animate. So I'm going to change that right now. Okay. The thing accidentally I clicked on animate. See, it doesn't look good. So only do animations at the beginning. The rest of the clicks and taps do instant. Instant means like what you see on your phone. That's how most apps professionally are made. So this interaction here, right? This interaction here, see, smart animate. I'm gonna change that to instant. Okay. I don't want the animation. Doesn't look good. Okay, so I changed it right away. And then yeah, so that's gonna be that. Press play now. Go back to the main page. Right, here we go again. Animation, get started. Okay, scroll down. Okay, click on the sneaker, goes to the sneaker page. Buy now. Go back to the sneaker, go back to the home page, back and forth, right? It goes. I'm gonna go back to design for a second. I mean, you don't have to do this part, but I could also fix the bottom menu here. You understand? To do that, you have to basically, let me show you where the, we go to window for a second, view. Where's the rulers? Rulers, here we go. Shift R, the rulers, yes. Another thing that XD didn't have, rulers. So you can add guides. And the guides will help me determine where this stuff is going to be. So I'm going to go right over here and I'm going to put a guide because you know you can create guides vertically and horizontally to align things properly as well. So I'm going to grab this guide here, move it out. But this one, I'm going to move right there. Okay. Now you should have thought of this beforehand, but that's okay. We're going to do it as we see it here. Right. And maybe this can be smaller formats. I'm just going to cut these out and paste them. Those icons have been problematic from the get-go. So I'm going to scale the artboard up to where the product ends. And again, I can have a very lengthy artboard. You can have artboard as long as you like, right? So I'm going to go ahead and just simply do a paste over here. If I want to mask this so it doesn't really show up like that, I could create like a rectangle element like this here. Maybe I'll do it to all of them, but whatever. I can do it now if I want. And put the rectangle at the very bottom. Okay, so it's like this. But for now, because I'm going to do it here and here and here, I'm just going to leave it alone. I mean, whatever. I can always do it after. That doesn't really matter. Here we go. So I'm going to select all these icons under prototype fixed. Okay. So the bottom doesn't move either. You understand? The top stays fixed, the bottom stays fixed. And that's how that's going to work. Okay. Right. Yeah, I'm just going to copy this here just to keep it consistent. We'll go over here, paste. Oh, shoot. My shortcuts are all over the place here. Let me just. There. Okay. Go over here again. Paste. Go to the bottom. Right. Back to design. Let's press play. Get started. There we go. Look, beautiful, right? The menu is always fixed in the bottom. The top's always fixed. You know, we click on the buttons. They go back and forth. Buy now, buy later. Get started, right? So everything is kind of done. So I showed you how to fix positions of your menus. I showed you how to do auto layouts. I showed you how to do auto animate. So this was a very practical lesson on how to do all this to make it look like a real app. If I open this on my phone right now, it'll look like a real scrollable app. It'll look like an app. It'll function like an app. Okay. So this is the stuff I wanted to explain today to you. Now, I don't think I have time to do the drop down menu, the hamburger menu. I think I'll save that for next week because next week I want to. It actually lines up okay because once I show you the hamburger menu, it's gonna also show you how to do more consistency with the bottom menu too. This icon thing threw me off today, and I apologize. I just didn't expect Illustrator to be not be so compliant with Figma or vice versa. So again, SVG files, okay, copy, save it, open it. But what I'll do next week is do a more I'm going to use the same file. I'm going to use that menu and do a universal navigation like CSS. And also I'm going to put a hamburger menu. Okay. So the hamburger menu is going to navigate to the pages as well. Okay. But one more thing before I wrap it up today, I do want to show you how to do a scrollable image and stuff like that, right? Because that's good to know, I think. I'll use this one as an example. So I'm going to move this over, okay? Because I need space, okay? Literally, like I'm going to move this here, move this over there, and I'm going to use this shoe as an example, right? Because what I'm going to do now is bring in, let me open, I don't want to mess up this thing here because it's a pretty good little file that I have going. So I'm going to bring in, copy and paste it from the other one, okay? So I'm going to save local copy here. Save, replace. And then I'm going to open the old one on purpose. So I'm going to open the old one just so I can grab those images. Oh, there they are. As a matter of fact, thank goodness I went to my UI kit and I have the images right there. Because look, I can use these images for my image gallery that I wanted to show you. Because I also wanted to at least show that at you today. So this way the design stuff's done. And next week will be the more advanced prototyping. So I'm going to grab this image. Ready? Watch this. This one, this one, this one, and that one. So just the images, not the text. Just the images. I grabbed them from the UI kit that I made, and I'm going to go to my high fidelity prototype, and I'm going to go in here and basically put the images in like a scrollable fashion. You know, like when you go to your phone and you scroll back and forth. I'm going to show you how to do a horizontal scroll. Vertical, no. You know why? Because the artboard moves vertical. Do you understand? Most things that you see on TikTok and apps, you scroll sideways. If you scroll vertical, you go to the next page. Do you understand? That's how the social media apps work, and in this case, the mobile device UI. So let's go ahead and hit paste. Okay, I'm gonna move this up here. I'm gonna put them side by side like this. Sometimes I like to do this so I can see it better, because once you do this, it clips the artboard, right? So you want to sometimes see it better. And I'm going to go ahead and arrange it now. So what I'm going to do now is like, if you select all of them, you can still do this kind of stuff. You know that, eh? You don't have to do auto layout to do this. Figma automatically, if you select 4 things, Figma gives you the option to do this kind of stuff automatically. What you can't do is when you resize it, they don't line up on top of each other. There's no stacking, okay? So to do this, you can go over here. Where is it? Tidy up, which is already tidied up. Good to go, right? I won't make them bigger though. So let's go to the scale tool and make it a touch bigger. There we go. Okay, that's good enough. I want it to be bigger so I can scroll within the page. Okay, here comes the magic. So you have 4 images. You might have a portfolio, a gallery or something. You might have 12 images. The trick is you have to make space. If you don't make space, you can't confine this constraint that I'm making. So what you want to do now is you want to put these inside a frame. And the frame can then do what's called a clipping. And then the clipping can interact with a scrollable feature, which I'm going to show you. So what you do is you right click and you put these inside a frame. So what you do, you go what's called frame selection. You frame the selection. So it's like you're putting a frame on the selection. Okay, like that. And then you go over here. Where's the clip option here? I'm trying to find it. Oh, here we go. You see, it's so small. Like my monitor is so small, I can't see it. Look, guys, what you want to do when you frame the images, right? You gotta go to clip contents. Look for this little thing. I'm telling you, it's so tedious. I gotta look for all things. If you click on this, what happens is it's like a clipping mask in Illustrator, right? You clip the content, right? It's on. See, it's checked on. That means if I make this smaller, look, it clips the content. Literally, that's what it's doing, right? So you purposely make this smaller than what it's supposed to be. So now there's more to it, right? Okay, so then you grab this frame. I'll rename it. I'm going to call this a shoe gallery. A shoe gallery. Okay, and I'm going to put this inside my page. So I have a frame inside the page now. And yes, I'll make it a little bigger because it's, there we go, nice and big. And you can purposely show the other shoe a little bit just to give people the incentive, hey, there's more. Just you have to scroll, right? So maybe I should make it a tad smaller just to show the other shoe. I mean, it's up to you, right? Maybe you can put an arrow or something, whatever you want to do. But the point is, I'm going to make it like this, okay? I'm going to make this even, oh, there we go, right? Perfect. I would make this like that, okay? So it's from edge to edge, right? And you go under prototype. This is the last part. Ready? This scrolls with parent, the positioning scrolls. But the overflow, this is called an overflow. you do what's called a horizontal scrolling. Horizontal scrolling is what you see on your phone when you swipe left and right with products. That's how you incorporate this feature in your prototypes. You put, if you do vertical, it does vertical, horizontal, horizontal. Both directions does like a map. You know, like map on Google. You can click on drag the map. You can do up, down, left, right. So I can basically show you another example of a map or an image bigger, and I can clip the frame smaller. And if I do both directions, I can drag it anywhere. You understand? In this case, I'm just going to do horizontal because it makes sense with products. And this is the most common one. Horizontal, and that's that. Let's go back to design. Now I'm going to move this closer here. Okay. Let's go ahead and play the prototype. Get started. We have the design elements locked. We can click on this sneaker here. We can buy it, go back, and we can scroll through different products, right? Like that. And you can go back here, go over here. Now notice how my buttons move a bit because I was being a little careless. I did stuff after. That's why planning is important. UI kit, because once you do everything properly, this should not move. Okay, this is like not a good prototype to do that. So I kind of, I'll be honest with you, I didn't do it on purpose, but I'm glad it happened. So you can learn from this. Always keep it consistent. You don't want this thing to shift on you, right? You want it to be exactly the same. All right. So I'm going to save this and test it on my mobile device right now to see how it works well. So for that, I'm going to simply do, save a local copy. Again, and also save to version history. Actually, no, it's going to be saved automatically. So close it, double click. I hope by now you have your Figma app, or if not XD, but do Figma, of course. Go to my Figma here. I'm going to go here. So I'm going to go to view prototype. First, I'm going to select this page, the high fidelity page. I'm going to go over here and do view prototype. So watch everybody. Here we go. It's going to load the app. Got to do the hinting again. Okay, so the animation ran. Let me do it again, okay? I didn't like those two. Restart prototype. Here we go. See the animation worked, right? Then we go click tap. The battery level's there. I can scroll. Oh, guess what? My phone is not 16 plus, so it's off. my phone's taller than the model that I made. So only do the phone that you have to prototype it with. So now it kind of looks a little off because my phone's longer. So anyways, everything else works. You know, the prototype here, buy now, go back. Look, this one, the shoes, you scroll left and right. They work too right now. And basically everything works accordingly. And I can do this part here. So from here to here is what your goal is to make it work. Okay. All right. So like I said, next week we're gonna get into some more advanced prototyping. I'm gonna do a hamburger menu, and the bottom menu I want to show you how to do a better way because I want to keep it consistent. I don't want you to link every. How many of you have 16 pages, right? So that's why I want you to be smart about it. So I'm gonna get into the more advanced stuff next week with connecting the right things and do a hamburger menu and things like that, and some other maybe miscellaneous things, and we should be good to go. Okay. But you learning the lesson today and last week, your app will be 90% completed. Okay. All right. So that wraps up the lesson. I'm going to stop the recording and I'm going to upload this video as soon as it's ready. And you guys can watch this again and learn from it. Having said all that, let's make sure my recording is still good. All right. Thanks for watching, guys, and see you next time. Bye for now.